Oh, how do you break the bond?
How do you break it, especially when you're in a long-term relationship?
Well, it's about like trying to get off of heroin, okay? Or stop smoking or drinking coffee or whatever else you're addicted to. It is a very powerful drug, okay? And it's produced in the hypothalamus, and it is produced, I'm going to tell you how it's produced in women. Women have a surge of oxytocin, meaning, you know, like a spike, okay? It's like hitting up a drug whenever they have an orgasm, during breastfeeding, and during childbirth are the three most maximum times that women get completely flooded with oxytocin, okay? So if you've had any of those experiences, then your brain has been washed with this. Do you see that the nature of the drug is designed, the nature of it's a neuropeptide, and its nature is designed to have you bond with the father of your child, you see, for life. And it's designed to have the mother bond with the child. You ever notice how mothers are more bonded with their children than fathers are?
Exactly.
Yeah, because of all that, because of it came out of her as part of her physically, and if she's breastfed, then she's had a daily dose of bonding chemicals. You know, it's one of the most bonding experiences on the planet. You know.
So in other words, bring addiction to a woman.
It's like an addiction. Okay, now when you've had an oxytocin bonding or with a man, and it's been over a period of time, then the sound of his voice, or anyone that even sounds like him, even they've done experiments where they would like trace the outline of somebody, you know, like their shadow. Even his profile in silhouette will cause you to have an oxytocin spike. Okay? The sound of his footsteps on the floor, his smell on a piece of clothing or a pillowcase or anything, all of those things cause oxytocin spiking or a rise in oxytocin. That's why when women break up with men, they'll like drive by their house and look at the window. They'll see the car. That'll give them a spike. They will listen to his voice on the answering machine and hang up. All of it's like getting a hit, okay? It's all of those things will give you an oxytocin spike.
The book that you were just
well, the book won't help.
mentioning, the 12-step of relationship, is that going to help?
It's going to help you understand. It will not necessarily help you break the oxytocin bond that you have with someone. How you break the oxytocin bond with somebody is you get rid of virtually everything that has anything to do with them, meaning all photographs, every possession that had anything to do with them, and I propose that you ritualistically either destroy them or give them away. In other words, if it's a lot of photographs, that you build a little fire and you burn them, okay? Or that but you must delete their name from your phone, all of that stuff, okay? Their email, anything that will remind you of them will continue to create the bond, you see? And you will be drawn to go back to it, knowing it's there. And when you accidentally come across it, you find yourself stopping and maybe even crying or whatever, having some emotion about the person. If you really want to break an oxytocin bond, you must break all ties. You must tell them, please never call me, don't come by my house, don't show up at places where you know I'm going to be, and have those accidental coincidences and encounters. Don't go around my friends and ask them about me or tell them to tell me stuff. In other words, please go away completely and leave me alone. And then you have about 2 years to break off ties with somebody that you've been together with for 10 years. It's like the death of a sibling or something. It's as if a brother or sister died. Okay? How long does it take to get over that? Right? Because you're used to hearing their voice, their footsteps on the floor, smelling them, even though they're not around, that you smell all the things that are around you that have them on it. Their favorite chair, their favorite cup, all this stuff. In other words, this person has become a part of your neurological system. There's places in your neurology where you and them are the same. It's like there's no separation anymore. So to break that bond, you must make a decision to do it, first of all, an irrevocable decision. And then you must create structures that support that system. In other words, you got to tell your friends, don't talk to this guy, and if he calls you, don't tell me about it. I don't want to hear it. Just tell him to go away and leave me alone, and don't you tell me he called you. I don't want to know, right? In other words, that would be a structure. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes.
You might need to move to another town. You might need to change your phone number. Those are structures that hold your life together, and you need to create a life that's only yours without him in it, and that's a conscious decision you have to make, and it almost seems cruel or brutal, but it will speed up the process. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I said men have oxytocin too. I've been married for 17 years with someone, and I had to break a bond like that, and it was painful.
Go to another relationship. Is that going to help?
It might help you, but it won't help the person you're in relationship with.
Yeah.
That's called triangulations. You see, he deserves, whoever this new guy is, he deserves to have a relationship with you and only you. Unfortunately, he'll be having a relationship with you and Mr. What's his name? You see? Who will be hidden in your subconscious someplace, and you will be using this guy to help blank out Mr. What's his name.
Okay.
So it might work for you, but it won't work for him.
Well,
it's not very nice. A lot of people do it, and I'll tell you how that usually turns out. It's called triangulation. It's when somebody's not strong enough to pull themselves up out of the hole in the ground that they've dug, okay? So they latch on to somebody that's outside the hole, and they pull themselves up using that person's energy to get themselves up out of the hole, and then they can cut the ties with the other one. And then what almost always happens is that they discard this other one too. I feel better now.
Would you give time between this? If you break up and do all these things, how long is it,
I'd give yourself at least a year.
At least a year.
10-year relationship, a year and a half. I mean, I'm not saying don't have any relationships, but don't go get strongly bonded to somebody else, because then you're just changing heroin for morphine. You're just changing opium for heroin, or you know what I'm saying? You're just changing drugs.
Yeah.
Okay? You're exhibiting addictive, codependent behavior, so you aren't getting well. Do you see what I'm saying? And the person that you're in relationship deserves, I would suppose, I will give them the benefit of the doubt, they deserve to have a relationship with a healthy, happy, whole, fulfilled, communicative person who is self-possessed, you see. But you're not self-possessed. You are possessed by an ex-lover, you see. And there's no getting around this. You have to heal yourself, and it takes time. And I'm sorry, if you find somebody, that tells you that you could do this in a shorter than a year and a half, they're not telling you the truth. And they're not, okay? They're telling you a theory, but I'm telling you a theory that's backed up by my own personal experience and by the experience of hundreds of people I've worked with. It takes time. And the best thing that you could do is find out what your life's about, what you're passionate about, what you love. So you see, if your life is about some guy, then you don't even have a life that's worth living. Your life is pretty useless. And no guy will really value a woman whose life is all about him. You see?
That's exactly what is happening.
Yeah. If your life's all about this guy, the new guy, he's not going to value you. You have no value, really, because you know why? You don't value yourself. Your value as a woman is to love yourself, to care for yourself, to nurture yourself, to respect yourself, to honor yourself, because you cannot expect somebody else to do all that if you can't do it for yourself, you see. You can't give what you don't have, and you can't receive what you don't need. If you need...
Dependency classes is going to help.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Codependency classes will definitely help. In your model of relationship, there's always a 0 and a 100. There's a master and a slave. There's one who's everything and one who's nothing. Okay, that's the model. And you know, who wouldn't want to have a slave, right?
Exactly.
But the model of relationship that I'm proposing, and that we propose at Embrace Growth, and we teach people how to do this in our seminars and workshops and our books and DVDs, and in our private sessions, we absolutely teach you how to be a whole, complete, independent person who has their own life, their own purpose, their own fulfillment, their own joy, their own spiritual connection, their own health and well-being, their own finances, that you are completely together with yourself. And you bring that abundance and prosperity and beauty and love and completeness to a relationship with another person who is also at that level, you see? And so the model of if when somebody wants you to get codependent with them, it would repulse you. You wouldn't be interested at all. It's as if you have been eating something that is toxic and poison all your life. And you've watched a number of people die from it, but you didn't know that's what was killing them. Then one day you discover that this thing you've been eating all your life is what was killing you, and you started eating something healthy that was good for you, and you actually felt good, and you started to see more clearly, and you started to be more energetic and healthy and happy and full of love and wanting to contribute and participate in society. Then if somebody offered you that old food that you used to eat, you'd go, no thanks. Don't eat that anymore. That's the difference that you feel when you make the shift and heal yourself from codependent relationships and you start owning your own life.